Okay, so how many people found the assignment hard? I think we all struggled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
especially
let's.
on the tenth one.
Sorry, I can't hear you, Krishna.
Also the 10th one.
Okay, so we will go over the questions, all of it. Okay, that's going to be our lesson today. So let's just look at the questions. Actually, let's start with number 2, okay? Because it's similar to the previous assignment, right? The one before. So what are we asking here? We're asking that given two times, right? Start hour and start minute and end hour and end minute. We need to find out how many minutes and how many seconds are in that period, right? We have to assume that it will be in the 24-hour format, and then the period cannot be greater than 24 hours, okay? But it could span like two different dates. Like, say for example, here I gave an example here. If it starts at 22:30 and goes up to 1:30, so we need to find that as well, okay? But the period will be 24-hour period, okay? So it's similar to what we did for the dates, right? So let's just write the function. Always have to name it with something that is meaningful of what the function is going to do. So I'm going to say here calculate period between times, okay? So here I'm going to say start hour, start minute, end hour, end minute, okay? So always we start with what, like the previous one, we look for the base case, right? Base case in this one would be, anybody want to guess what's the easiest we can figure out? If it's
When the start hour is they're on the same day
yeah,
and the hour is the same.
on the same hour, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll say if start hour is has to be less, right? Because that's the basic case. End hour, and another thing is also the no, I guess the very basic one would be when start hour is equal to end hour, okay? And the end minute is greater than start minute. That'll be the very basic case, okay? In this case, we can for sure we can find out that the minutes, let's say I create a variable minutes and assign it, the minutes would be, because it's the same hour, and the end
You did 0, 1, 2, 4, and then 2, 4, 8. So that's why you wrote on the one in the morning at 9:30.
okay. Okay, so minutes would be end minute minus start minute, right? For example, if the let's say it's 1 o'clock, both of them 1 o'clock, starting minute is 15 and the end minute is 30. That's this condition, right? End minute greater than start minute. So I'm going to say for this case it's just end minute minus start minute. That's like the basic, okay? The other case would be when what's the other case we can think of? It's the case when the start hour is like sorry, else if when the start hour is less than end hour, right? That's the other case. So in this case we can assume that's basically, why do we need start hour less than end hour? It means that this is like the good case where, you know, let's say the start is 1 and end is 2, or end is all the way up to 1 minute less than 24, right? Or it could be 24 hour too. Well, there's no such thing as 24 hour, but it could be 23 hours and 59 minutes. Okay, that's the good case. So in this case, how do we find the minutes? For sure, the start minute, right? Let's say it's 10:30. We need to go all the way to 11. okay, in that case. So the minute to the next hour, so which would be 60 minutes minus the start minute. Okay, that's the beginning minute to the next hour, plus also let's say the end minute. We can look at the end minute, so we can just add the end minute, right? And in between we need to add the hours, right? In here some hours are going to come in, right? Are we following? Let's draw a diagram, see if it makes sense. Okay, so in this case this is our so 24 hours is right up here. Can I draw here? So 24 hours would be up here. That's the 0th hour, right? So let's say if we pick two, so it's going to go all the way around, right? So if I pick two times here, let's say this is start. I'm just going to name the start, and the other one is the end. Okay, so start, for example, could be 1:30 and end could be here, let's say 4:45. Okay, so what we are looking at is the, so as I said here, let's just minimize this. So I was saying that the start hour is less than end hour, right? So it's going to start at 0 all the way to 24. So whenever the start hour is less than end hour, in this case start hour is always behind, right, the end. So we just need to, from start hour to the next hour would be 1:30 to 2 o'clock, right? 2. So 1:30 to 2 is actually 30 minutes, which is the 60 minutes minus the 30, right? That's how we find out the leftover in that hour, like to the next hour. So that's this part, plus the end minute. Let's say suppose we come all the way to 4 o'clock. The end minute is from 4 o'clock to 4:45, which is the end minute itself, right? So now we need to calculate somehow the hours in between, right? So how can we find the hours in between? So in this case it'll be 4 minus 1 would give me 3, but it's not 3. Actually I need 2 hours, right? Because it's actually going to go from 1, because I already counted the start minute, right? So I already counted that, so I'm already at 2 o'clock. So let's just draw that. I need a better software to draw. Ooh. So this one would be 2 o'clock. Okay, so from 2 o'clock all the way to 4 o'clock we need. I can't pick that up. Okay, there we go. All right, just draw this. It's not so important, but okay. So from 2 to 4. So if I had 4, so in here I need to add more, right? So, but I can't just add this hour here. So it'll be end hour minus start hour. So that's 4 minus 1, but I want 2, right? 4 to 2, because I covered from 1:30 to 2 up here, and then 4 to 4:45 at the end minute. So I need something between 2 to 4.
4 minus or end hour minus start hour plus 1.
Start hour minus 1. Start is 1, right? So we need to go to 2.
So you add 1, right?
Yeah. So no, we already covered from 1:30 to 2 here by this condition. I mean this expression, and from 4 to 4:45 we covered by this expression. We just need this period here, which
Yeah,
is
the in between is 60 times 4 or end hour minus start hour plus 1. Or end hour minus plus hour or start hour times plus 1 times 60.
no minus 1 times 60. Oh, sorry, yeah, plus 1. Sorry, plus 1 times 60. Yes, you're right. Okay. So, but just be careful that the okay. Let me explain here. So what we need is that minute plus equal. So end hour minus start hour. Okay. If I say minus 1 here, what will happen is that it'll be, say for example here end is 4, start is 1, right? 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 minus 1 would give me 2. That's what we want, right? What you're saying for Waylon is this, which is also correct, but you just have to be careful to add the plus in here like this. This is the same thing. Do you guys see that? The whole thing has to be timed by 60 because this is just an hour, right? Any confusion? You guys see that? Right? So start plus 1, we need to move up, and then from the beginning minus that, right? Beginning minus that, right? And then the whole thing has to be times by 60. But this only applies in the case when let's say for example if it is 1:30 and 2:30, this condition wouldn't apply. What will happen is that, say for example 2 minus 1 plus 1 would give us what? Actually would it work? Let me see. So we already captured the fact that start hour equal to end hour, but also the end minute has to be greater than. So if the start hour is end hour and end minute is less than start minute, that means it's another day. We have gone over, like it's basically in another day, right? So yeah, so I think this should work, right? Right, so we have this condition. So even if it is 1:30 to 2:30, it'll say 2 minus 1, 2 minus 2 will be 0, 0th hour. Yeah, I think it should work. Okay, so we have covered the case when hour is same or hour is different but start is less than end. We have a way to calculate the minutes. Okay, the only case now left is basically when when it's on a like it's past that middle or midnight. Okay, so for example, something like this. So that's our midnight. Okay, so we're going from, if we start from here to here, we are still on that same type of case. But if we start from here, the hour would be, start hour would be greater than the end hour, right? Say for example here it will be, let's say it's 1 a.m. right, and this one is 22:30 or something. Okay, so in this case this is the other condition. So how can we figure this part out? So the easy way of figuring this out is that it's like this. So even though this is start and end, we can say that we can find out time between the start and end, right? So if we assume this is the start and this is the end, we would find the time like this range. Okay, and taken that range, if we subtract it from the total minutes in an hour, we would get this part. That's the easiest way to find out. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so what we can do is we can say else minutes would be equal to let's say in a 24 times 60, that's the total minutes in a day, right? Subtract it. I already have a calculation up here, right? This function, I can call the function itself. Okay, this is called recursion. We haven't learned this, but so basically what I'm doing is I'm going to call my function with the start and end switched around. So for the start hour I will give the end hour, and for the start minute I will give the end minute, and start hour and end minute. Okay, so this will tell me this period here, how many minutes in that. I'm just subtracting that part from the total hour, total minutes in the day, which is this. Okay, so that should give me, that should cover all my cases, I believe. Okay, so let's test it out. So okay, let's also create a method that prints this, print duration or something. Okay, so it'll be minutes. So in order to calculate the hour in a minutes, I will say minutes, the division, right? The double slash will give me how many hours, and then minutes, it'll say minutes mod 60. Okay, I'm just writing a helper function just to see if my function is working. So this basically tells me how many hours in that total minutes, and this tells me what is the remaining, like the mod will give me the remainder, right? Do you guys follow that? So let's test it out. So print duration, calculate period time between. So let's go for the easy case. Let's say from 1:30 to 2:45. Okay, or actually that's the same hour, right? 1:45. Oh. So this should give me just how many? 15 minutes, right? Let's see if it works. What is it saying? Unsupported operand type. Okay, minutes. Print duration.
You aren't returning a function.
Oh, sorry.
Returning anything.
I forgot to return the minutes here. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay, so this works. It gives me the 15. So our first condition, it's working. Let's see if our second condition works. Okay. So the second condition is when the hour is different. Say for example, it's 1:30 to 2:45. Let's see if that works. 1:30 to 2:45. So that's 15 and a 45, right? It's 1 hour and 15 minutes, right? It's 30 minutes plus 45 minutes, really, right? That also works. Okay, so the other one is it's on a more than 2. Okay, let's put 3. So in this case, it'll be 30 minutes plus an hour and a 45, which is 2 hours and 15 minutes. Let's see if that works. That also works. Okay, now comes the hard part. Let's see if this one works. So the other condition is basically it's going past that midnight point, right? So in this case, I can say I'm going from, let's say I'm going from 23:30 to let's say 0:15. How many minutes should that give me? That should give me 45 minutes, right? Let's hope it works. Nope, it doesn't. It gives me 60 minutes. Oh, so something is wrong there.
But we have to return the number of minutes and seconds in between. You don't have to return the hour. You just have to return the minutes and seconds.
Yeah, for now I'm just checking the minutes, okay?
You're returning the hours in between, but the assignment says return the minutes and seconds.
Yeah, I know. So this is basically returning the minutes, total minutes. Seconds is seconds is just minutes times 60, right? That's how many. So this part here is not working as we thought it should, right? So why is it not working? Let's try to figure this out.
But I have 0:45.
Sorry?
My screen says 0:45.
Is it because like in the else it says end minute, not start? It says end hour, end minute, start hour, end minute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's probably why. Good catch. So let's run this again. Yes. So now it works. 45 minutes, right? So let's try another case. So our next case would be, let's say, for example, from 23:30 to, okay, no, let's just change it for the moment. 0:30 to 0:15. That means it has to go all the way around that midnight mark, right? So it should give me 23:45. Is it? Is it only 15 minutes remaining in between? Yes, right?
Yeah.
That's the only difference. So this seems to work. So Bailon, for your answer, I was expecting for you guys to return a tuple, basically minutes and seconds in. So which is minutes times 60. Okay, that was just to see how, just to remind you guys how to return like two values from a function. Okay, does that make sense, Bailon?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one, are we clear now on this? How we did this? Did we make any mistake here? Do you guys want to try any other? Did you guys have any like input that you guys tried?
24:30, and then it went negative.
No, we don't have negative times, right? And 24:30 is not a valid time. Time is from 23:59. Like it starts from 00 all the way to 23:59. Okay, so I can put 23:59 here. Let's say it starts at 23:59, goes to 00. Let's see if that works. That should just give me 1 minute. Okay, sorry.
It's because the end. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it just gives me 1 minute, right? What if I go from 00 to 23:59? Yeah, right. Anything else you guys try? Any number? Let's just see if this hours is actually working or not.
All zeros?
All zeros?
Yeah.
That should give me what? 0, right? There's no difference.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, something is wrong here. Oh, did I have an extra? No. So obviously it doesn't work. Let's see why it doesn't work. Okay. So it says here's maximum recursion depth exceeded in comparison. So that means we kept calling this again and again because one of our conditions didn't meet. So it says start hour equal to end hour, and we said n minutes greater than, right? So in our case, start hour and end hour are same, but the end minute, it never hit any of these conditions. It always went to this else, and this else says call this function. So it kept calling that function. Like basically, when we call this function, it came here past 00, and it went in and it called this function again. So it kept calling that function again and again. That's why it says maximum recursion depth exceeded. That's what that error means. So we just need to say if it is greater than or equal. If we put that, then we should be okay. It stops that infinite call. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good test case. Any other test case? Vaishnav, which one did you have? Vaishnav, did you have any start?
Yeah.
Did we have any start and end?
No, we just did like basic.
Basic ones. Okay.
Yeah, like
Let's see. If I go from 4:10 to 4, that's also something like it spans 2 different days. Okay, so the difference is, yeah, that works. If I say 3:10, it should be less. Yeah, right, it works too. But did you guys see how I went about solving this problem? I know that in your, like, you guys were like struggling a lot, right, to trying to find the base cases and the, I mean, this is just one way of solving, right? But obviously you don't really need to call this function. This is just easy for me to solve this problem based on the fact that, you know, my thinking was that in order to calculate the other the opposite scenario, all I had to do was take the total and subtract something that I already know how to figure out, right? The good time. Like basically that when the hour is like always the end hour is always greater than the start hour, right? Like Veron, do you want to tell how you did your problem? Like what was your thinking behind it? You want to share with us?
Okay, should I share my screen?
Sure, yeah.
I think you need to stop presenting.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I did was if start hour is equal to end hour, and then I had two sub cases in that case. When
Okay.
the end minute was greater than the start minute, or when the end start minute was greater, but I just had else there.
Okay.
So if the end minute was greater than or equal to start minute, then it was minutes equal to end minute minus start minute.
Yeah.
And then if minutes, if the start minute was greater than end minutes, minutes equal to 1,440. That's the minutes in a day.
Yeah.
And then start minus end minute.
Yeah.
And then this is, oh, I can remove this. Wait, I just realized reading back.
Yeah. There's a duplicate case there, right?
Yeah. So if end hour is greater than start hour, so this is a case where you showed when they're the same, like in between each other, like so from your 1:30 to 2 or 4 o'clock. This is that second case where, and if the end minute is greater than start minute, then minutes equal to end hour minus start hour times 60 plus end minute minus start minute. And then same thing for the other one.
So both of your calculation here are returning this, like you have the same expression for both of them, right? Is it so
Yeah.
necessary? That seems
No.
like something that is duplicated, right?
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
I mean, you don't even need the if condition, it seems.
Yeah.
Right? Because if else you did the same expression. So
Yeah.
right.
And then if end hour is less than start hour, minutes equal to 1,440 minus start hour times 60 plus start minute, and then end hour times 60 plus 10 minutes.
Okay. So if you test it out with the inputs that we gave, like in our example, does everything work? It's kind of hard.
Yeah. So this is, give me an input, I guess. What input should I put?
All zero.
Chris was trying to screw over my code. It's right there.
All right. How about 410 to 310?
410 to 310. 23 hours.
Yeah, that's correct. So the moral of the story here is that there's more than one way to solve a problem. Okay, doesn't mean that yours is any less or greater. I mean, better than other person's. It just means that you're thinking differently. Like, okay, so like the important part is you don't run away from the problem, you just keep plugging at it, okay, and you will find the solution. The more problems we do, the easier it becomes. You will see the same type of things repeating. Okay, all right, so let me
Should I stop presenting?
yeah.
So you can present.
Okay, so that's our so we'll get that out of the way. So let's just go back to our next questions. Okay, so rest of them are all about using list and iterating. Okay, I just want you guys to practice that. That's what all these questions were about. So let's just quickly go over it. Okay, so this one says find the Fibonacci numbers, right, or print the Fibonacci. So we know that like if you research on what a Fibonacci is, it's a series where the number is the sum of the previous two numbers. Okay, so let's quickly do that. So I'm going to say Fibonacci So if I want to print the first n Fibonacci, so we know that the first one, n0 is 0 and n1 is 1. Okay, so now I need to somehow print over it. So I would say for I in range n, okay, that's gonna give me so I can also do this from 1 to n plus 1. Okay, let's just say that. Okay, I'm saying remember the range is the n is the last number or the second argument is always exclusive, right? So it's going to go from 1 to n. The I would be 1 to n. So if I were for this case, if I say if I equal to 0 or 1, I will just print n0. Okay, and okay, I'll just print this n0. And else if I equal to 2, the second argument, because those things are already fixed, right? 0, it always starts with 0 and 1. I would just print n2. Okay, the other case is the most interesting part, right? So if it is anything else, what I need to do is my number, okay, the n would be equal to n0 plus n1. Okay, so I'll print that, but I need to make sure to advance, sorry, n1 here, n0 and n1. I need to make sure to so the next iteration for the next number, the previous numbers has to be updated, right? Because if I just print n and I don't do anything with that n, right, that's my current number. I need for the next iteration somehow my previous numbers has to be updated for me to figure out the next number, right? So I would say in this case I would say n0 would become n1, the previous one, right? So like 0 becomes 1 and n1 becomes the n. Okay, so n1 becomes n. Do you guys see that? So that should print me the Fibonacci numbers. So let's just do that. Print Fibonacci. Let's say if I want to print the first 10. What's happening here? Fibonacci is not printing.
Why did you put print duration?
Oh,
You have to call the function.
I print Fibonacci. Okay, I just want to rush through this thing. That's why I'm doing it wrong. So okay, 0, 1, and the second one is the previous sum of the previous one, which is 1, and the second one would be here. This number would be the previous sum of this, and this number would be the previous two numbers sum, and this one would be previous two numbers sum. This one would be the previous two sum numbers, right? That makes sense? Do you see why we had to update this, the previous numbers, to be the current numbers, right? Do you see that? So our variables, we make sure to, because remember this for loop is just, this part gets iterated for whatever this range, right? We're going from 1 to n, right? So these two are base cases, right? That's the start of a series. So if it is 1, I'm just going to print 0, and if it is 2, I'm going to print the second one. Oh, let's just, I named it n0. Maybe I should say n1 and n2. Okay, that'll be more consistent. So n1 and n2, and the n would be n1 plus n2, right? And n1 becomes, sorry, n1 is n2, right? And n2 becomes n. Okay, does it make sense? I calculate the n based on the previous two numbers, but for the next iteration as I come, I better make, if I don't have this, my n1 and n2 will never get updated. So I need to update it for the next iteration. So that's what I do here. So n1 becomes n2, right, the next number, and n2 becomes n. So every time we go, it's just going to get the previous two numbers going to get updated. This is basically telling me what the previous two numbers are. So in every iteration, I need to make sure what the previous two numbers are. Right? I need to keep updating it. Right now? Following this?
Yeah.
Anyone that is not clear on this? Krishna? Are you clear on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the next one. So next one says, given a list of numbers, return the difference between the maximum and minimum values in the list. Okay. So let's define a function min. We already did this last time, did we? How to calculate the minimum and maximum, right?
Yeah, and then you just subtract them.
Yeah. So I think we know how to do this. Do you want me to go through this again?
No, we.
Vaishna?
Yeah.
You want me to do it?
I can get how to do it. I just copy and paste them from the other one and then just put the thing in the same for loop.
I did the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's basically it. Okay, let's just do it for completeness sake. So minimum, if a is less than b, return a. Otherwise, else return b. Okay, that's our min function. Max function. Oh, minimum. Okay. Now, given a list.
You called them both minimum.
Right. What am I doing? I'm just getting old. A is greater than b, return a, otherwise. Okay, now it's good. Okay, so difference, right? Difference between min and max. So I'm gonna get a list of numbers. So how can I find the minimum? So minimum value equal to I'm going to say list of numbers. So I'm going to start with the first one being the list of numbers. Oh god, the first one, right? And then I'm going to say for I in list of numbers.
Can I write, please?
Let me just finish this. Okay, this one just going to give me the actual value, right? This is not a range. Okay, you guys know the difference, right? You should know the difference by now. So here I'm going to say minimum value equal to our function minimum. The first argument, doesn't matter which one we pass in, we can pass the I and the minimum value, right? Okay, and we just keep updating in the loop. Okay, that's our minimum, and the maximum value would be, again, let's just start with list of numbers. Assume that the maximum is the first one. Okay, let me just copy paste this thing. For I in list of numbers, so here would be maximum value. Maximum value equal to, we're going to compare the current value with the maximum value, and we have a function called maximum. So now we found the maximum and the minimum and maximum. All we have to return now at the end is maximum value minus the minimum value. That will tell us the difference between the maximum and minimum value. Okay, let's just test it out. So we just need to give a list as our argument. We create a list with square brackets and comma separated values. So let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6. What's the difference between those two? 5, right? All right, good. So I'll just change some values around, see if it works. Let's say I put 2 6s and 2 1s, or let's just make these 2. Let's see what happens. 2 3. So here it should be 4, right? It works. Okay, any questions on this? Any doubts how we did this? I mean, I know some of you had the function within a function itself, right? Which is okay. It's something called closure, actually it's called, when you have a function within a function. But we'll learn about that later. But for now, yeah, you can have it outside or inside, doesn't matter. But keep it outside for now, okay? Okay, so next question. Given a list of numbers and the limit number, return a new list containing only the numbers in the list less than the limit number. You guys know how to do this? So let's do that. So def numbers or values below. I'm going to call that, okay? So here's my list of numbers, and I'm going to give the limit. I'll call this limit, okay? Limit number or something, limit. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to create a new list, okay? So list of list below limit, I'm going to call it, okay? It's important that you name your variables and functions meaningful, okay? So this list will be the list below, list below limit. Okay, so this is how I create an empty list. Now again, I'm just gonna do a for loop for I in list of numbers. So in this, I'm gonna check if I is, what is it? It has to be list of return a new list containing only the numbers in the list less than the limit number. Okay, less than. So this is the value. So if I is less than limit, right, what I need to do is add to my new list. Okay, how do I add to my new list? Append, right? Okay, append and the value. Okay, now after that for loop, I have my list below limit, so I just have to return the new list. So let's test this out. So let me give 1 2 3 4 5, and my limit, let's say I give 3. I should get just 1 and 2. Okay, I get 1 and 2. Okay, if I give 5, I get 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, if I get 0, I should get nothing. Okay, any questions on that? Krishna, you good?
I'm good.
Yeah, you understood this? So we're just basically we're iterating through the list and trying to find out which one is less than the limit that we pass. Okay, all right. So next one. Given a list of numbers, return a new list in the opposite direction. Okay, this one. Okay, this is interesting. So I'll say def reverse list. Okay, so list of numbers. So this one is so let's say reversed list. I'm gonna make this empty first. Okay, there's many ways of doing it. This is just one of them. But I want you to, I know there's already a Python function or Python method in the list that if you say reverse, it's going to give you a list that is, it's going to reverse that list and the elements. Okay, but for this exercise, we want to know how those things actually function. So we're doing it ourselves using the for loops. Okay, so we cannot just iterate over the the list of numbers, right? We want to somehow get the position, right? So we can or we want to get it from, because for I in list of numbers will just give me the in the order that is defined, right? 1 2 3 4. But I want to be able to get it from 5 4 3 2 1. So when I take 5 and put it into a new list, because append method just appends to the end of the list, right? So if I have to start from the end and go all the way to the start. So how can I do this? I can use the range, right? So I want to start from here, this index. Okay, remember the index in a list, the first element is 0 and the last element is the length of the index minus 1. Okay, because if it starts from here 0 1 2 3 4, right? 4 is less than, like 5 minus 1 is 4. Okay, so I want to go from length of the list of numbers minus 1, right, all the way to 0. Okay, but 0, remember in the range the second argument is exclusive, right? So we need to go even one below that, so minus 1. Okay, do you guys see that? And then the step function has to be minus 1 because I want to go by I want to decrement. The normal range function, if you just give 2 arguments, it's just going to increment. Okay, the step is always positive 1. In this case I want to decrement. Okay, so when I go down, so basically the first number would be this number, which is, let's say if I give you this list, it will be 5 minus 1, which is 4, and I'm going all the way down to minus 1, but the index, I'm only looking for the index, right? So I would say reverse list, append list of numbers. This is how I access it based on the square bracket I. Okay, that should reverse me the list, and I can just return the reverse list. So let's just print this. Oh, Waylon, can you go on mute? Okay, thank you. Okay, so if I print this reverse list and I give 1 2 3 4 5, I should get back 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, this is a bit this is all about using the range properly. Okay, we're basically using all 3 arguments to the range, and it's also about, so this I is actually the index, because if we know the index, then only we can go from the back to the front to construct the new list.
Can you take up number 10?
Number 10, okay. So number 10 says, given a list of numbers, return a new list containing the non-duplicate numbers. Okay, all right. So easy way would be, for example, let's create a new function called some helper function that's going to count how many times something occurs in a list. Okay, so I will call this frequency or something. Okay, and I will give a list and the value that we are looking for, let's say v. Okay, so I will name a variable called let's just say occurrence or something. So initially there's 0 occurrences. Okay, so then I would go for I in list of numbers. Okay, if I equal to v, okay, then I'm just going to increment the occurrence plus equal to 1. Okay, and I'm going to return the occurrence. So this just says how many times that v occurred in that list. Okay, now knowing that, Now I can say def, say what was it says, unique, right? Containing only non-duplicate numbers. Okay, so I will say name of the function will be non-duplicate values. So I'm going to get the list of numbers. So again, I'm going to create a new list, non-duplicate list. Okay, because I need to return, and so then I would say for I in list of numbers. Okay, and I say if I will call this function frequency, and I pass in the list of numbers, right, to the function, the original list, and I pass the new value that I'm checking. So if I pass in, for example, 1 2 3 4 5, this would be the first number 1, right? So I want to see how many times 1 occurs, and if the frequency number of times occurs is the 1, then I know that is it only occurs 1 time in the list. Okay, so if that is the condition, then I would add to the non-duplicate list.
Don't you need to put I instead of 1 inside the frequency?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was talking, and good, you guys are paying attention. So once that is done, then I know for sure I have the non-duplicate list. Okay, so let's print that out, test it out. So if I say 1 2 3 4 5, I should get everything, right? 1 2 3 4 5. Let's say if I have 2 2s, I should only get 1 4 and 5. Okay, if I have everything 2, I should just only get 2. Oh, sorry, I should get nothing because there's no there's no unique ones. If I put 1, then I will get 1. Okay, Krishna, are you good with that?
Yeah.
So we created a helper function called frequency that's going to calculate the frequency, right? How many times v occurs in the list of numbers. Once we know that, for each numbers we can call that and see if the frequency is 1, then we know it's unique. If it is unique, then we can add to a non-duplicate list. Then once we check through all the numbers, we have our list of non-duplicate numbers. You see, okay. So anything else that you guys want to go over? How about this one? Given a list of number, return a new list where the position of the numbers are shifted by 1 to the right. Actually, 7 is interesting because it's the same thing, except given n, you shift those by n, right? Did you guys have any difficulty with that? I thought that was a bit tricky. First of all, do you guys know what the question asking for?
Yeah.
So it's like this. If we had 1 2 3 4 5 6, and let's say if it asks you to shift by 1, what will end up like is, so the 6 will go to the end here, and everything else will get shifted. So it'll become like this, right? That was the first question. The second question was, let's say if I give a number as well. Let's say if I wanted to shift my 3, these 3 would come to the back and front, and then these guys would go to the back. So it should be something like this. 4 5 6 will come to the front, and 1 2 3 will go to the end, right? That's what the question was asking. How do you shift, right? So 6 comes to the back once. If it's twice, 6 goes here and 5 comes back. So basically we need to split the list into 2 segments. Okay, wherever that n is. So, are you guys following? So we need actually two ranges. One range that goes from 0 to n, right? Because that's how many times we need to shift, right? So this one needs to go to the back, and whatever these guys need to come to the front. All right, so let's do that. So def, let me just delete this. Shift. Oh. I'm just going to call this shift, list of numbers, and shift by or something by, okay? So again, new list, shifted list, okay? Starts with empty list. So first we need to go, let's see, we need to go from the middle, right? So we need a range for I in range, it's going to be, let's say if it is 3, right? We need to shift by 3. That means we need to go by, start at 3 because it's the 4th element we're looking for, right? So 3 all the way to the end of the list, right? End of the list would be length of list of numbers, right? Because so this will go from, sorry, not 3, shift by. I'm just shift by. That was my example. 3 was my example, but we need to go from shift by. If it is 3, it'll be the 4th element, right? Because remember the index starts at 0, right? So if I give 3, it's going to be the 4th element. Okay, so that's why this 4th element all the way to the end. End is length basically, because this is exclusive. What was that?
Do you want me to add 1?
No.
What is the length of list?
Length.
Shift by.
Shift by, let's say shift by is 3. For our example, like our example was like this, right? Right. So shift by, if I give 3 was the shift by, right? So 3 would this is 0th element, first element, second element, this is the 3rd element, right? So 3 would point to here, right? So I need to take all these guys and put it in the back, right, of this new list.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So, because it has to be 4, 5, 6 and then 1, 2, 3, right? So I'm going for the 4, 5, 6. That's what this guy is going to do. Do you guys see that? So it'll be, so shifted list append the new list, right? This is the index I'm looking for. So I have to take the list of numbers and index it by that, right? That's the I is the index. I'm going from here to here, right? That's the first iteration. So I need to do another iteration. This time it'll be the front. So that's easy. So I'm going to go from 0 all the way up to shift by, right? Shift by is 3. I need to go from 0 to 2, right? So now I have the shifted list. Do you guys see that? Let's just test this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I pass in 3. I want to shift 3 elements, right? If I pass in 1, it should only shift 1, right? Sorry, did it shift by 1? What is going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, what is this doing? This is not right. Let's just see. 3. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. That's correct. So it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and okay, if I 1. No, this is not doing what's supposed to be doing. So if you want to shift by 1, all the way from 1 to end of the list, that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That needs to be put in. Why is it working for 3 but not for, how about 4? Yeah, 4 is okay. No,
4 is only shifting 2.
it's not shifting. So what are we doing wrong? What did I do wrong? Shift by. So if I have a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I need to shift by 1. I go. Oh, sorry. I need to go from the back, not from the front here. Shift by to list of numbers. I need to go from the back. So I need to go from length minus 1, right, to this thing plus shift by, or minus shift by. So I need to go from the back actually, isn't it? Let me think. I need to take this one. So if I have 5, 6, 2, 5 and 6. Hold on. Why is it not working? It was okay. And I take these guys 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 6, 5, 2, 3, and then 1. Okay, yes, we need to go from 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 is, so how do we start at 6? It is length of number minus shift by. So 5, so I say 6 minus 1 is 5th element. Yes, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th element. All the way to length of list. Yes, okay, this is right. Okay, let's run this thing. Okay, so we got just that one, and then this one we need to go from 0 to this guy. Let's see. Yep, now it's working. So if I put 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. If I put 3, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. if I shift 6 times, it should come back to the original list. Yes. Sorry. Were you guys following? I was sleeping. I wasn't thinking straight. So we had to go from the back, right? Because so let's say we need to shift by 1. We need to go from here, right? Basically from here. We take the last one, okay? So that's why the length, this is the length. So that's 6 minus 1. That's going to give me 5. That's this guy. All the way to end, because it's already end. So the end has to be length, right? Because 1 is exclusive, right? The second argument is exclusive. So if it was 2, I would say 6 minus 2, right, which will give me 4, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's be here 4, right, all the way to the end. So 5, 6, I insert 5, 6 into the list, and then rest of them I need to go from 0 to that whatever this guy up to here, and not including that, right? It's a bit tricky. Okay, so if I say 2, so I'm shifting all of that 1, 2, 3, like last 2 elements here back. All the elements in the front just get shifted. Okay, I'm pretty sure there's other ways of doing this, but given the time restriction, this is all I could come up with right now. But it works. But do you guys see how what was the process, right? How I did it?
Yeah.
Follow that? Or how did you guys do it? Waylon, how did you do it actually? Does it work actually? I didn't even check.
Mine works.
Works? How did you do it?
So basically what I did was I took, I had like a position pointer.
Okay.
So then I put the position pointer at N or shift by.
Okay.
And then I just printed everything that's past position paper or position pointer.
Yeah.
And then I went back to the beginning of the list and then printed everything, or I appended it to a new list, and then then I went back to the beginning and did everything before it.
That's exactly what we're doing as well, right? This was our pointer. Right? The pointer has to come from the back, right? Because we're shifting. That's what we did here. So everything from that pointer to the end of the list, and then from start of the list to the pointer. So the interesting part is, how do we calculate the pointer? How did you calculate the pointer? You must have had this too, right? Elon?
No, I did. I just did the position. The pointer was the length of the list minus N.
Yeah, that's what this is, right? I mean, shift by is N. So you must have had this. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. So we're doing the same thing. No?
Yeah, I just had more lines. I used more lines than I needed to.
That's okay. But just try to be concise as much as possible, basically. Krishna, how did you do it?
I did I kind of did the same.
That's okay, but as long as you understand what's going on here, because it's a bit tricky, right? So it's all about getting the range correctly, and whether we want the index or whether we want the value. Like in this case, we want the index, right? Not the value. Up here we just took the value. So Vaishna, you understand this?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Okay, I think today was kind of long class. So tomorrow we'll learn something new. Okay, I'm just going to go over the list again, but I'm going to show something more about the list that we didn't learn So we'll be prepared for the next assignment. Okay.
Okay.
But you should be getting comfortable with for loops and lists, right? Because in almost all the programs that you're going to come across, you will be using the list and the for loop. That's like the workhorse of Python, basically. Okay. Like you need to repeat, so you need for loop or while loop, and you need a list of things that you're working with, and it always goes into a list. Okay, so you have to get comfortable with list, the for loop, and the indexes. How do you get a value out of the list? Like what, those. So hopefully these examples gave you some practice on how to work with those. Okay. So you should be getting very familiar now. But do some research on Google and get some example questions that you can work with list. Okay, that'll help you more. But for next class, we're going to learn about lists, but something a little bit more in depth. It's about like how to represent two-dimensional lists. Basically, wait. Okay, so we'll learn about it tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
So let's keep plugging
Okay.
at it. All right. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.